Okay, fine. Yeah, next presenter is Hiral.
Yes, sir. Daya will share my presentations. She will
Yes,
share
yes,
her.
yes.
Okay. Uh, Good morning, everyone, and myself Hiral Kashyap, and I will share my point of view on Pride and Prejudice as a timeless story. Next slide, Daya. Next slide. Okay. The external plot drives may be contemporaneous and no longer relevant to us today, but Jane Austen had a profound understanding of human nature, and human nature hasn't changed much in 200 years. Pride and Prejudice is an 1813 romantic novel of manners written by Jane Austen. Pride and Prejudice follows the turbulent relationship between Elizabeth Bennet, the daughter of country gentlemen, and Darcy, a rich aristocratic landowner. Next slide. Okay, this slide. They must they must overcome the titular sins of pride and prejudice in order to fall in love and marry. While it is a wonderful study of human nature, it is also a very powerful love story, and that is too timeless. Jane Austen at first wanted to name it First Impression, uh, but but thought against it. It used Pride and Prejudice instead. The title basically sums up the novel. Mr. Darcy says that he would never wanted to be blinded by prejudice, while Lizzie hates Mr. Darcy for acknowledging her status and her place in society, which hurt her pride. Pride and Prejudice, which Austen had originally named First Impression, is actually a wonderfully well-rounded tale of misguided misunderstanding. Prejudice from First Impression, classism in 1800th century England, love, betrayal, and life as a woman in that time. The book itself is a female-centric, which means that there are a lot of mood swings, loves, drama, which again only add value to the script. Morality at that time being what is certain things will never be mentioned or spelled directly, like sex, affair, pregnancy, etc. will be alluded to rather than spoken of openly. Women are in, inter, interfered by or throw themselves on protection of men rather than having sex with them. Relating back more directly to the issue of morality, modern readers won't always fully understand, only think were as big deal as they are, or why the certain things were not bigger than it is supposed to be. And miss Next slide. Elizabeth Bennet is by far the most modern in outlook of Austen's heroines. She is independent-minded in a world where independence was not permitted for women of modest means. She wishes to marry for love, which boundary line radical in her world, and she has no patience for disguising her true inclination or her intellect in order to make herself more pleasing to a man would be put off by her authentic self. Imagine a family of five sisters, all engaged in the subtle art of caring and loving an overly enthusiastic mother and a wise and gentle father. The book has everything a romantic could need: the balls, the ball gowns, dancing, kissing, love and sisters bonding, and a truly attractive, rich, handsome Mr. Darcy, who has been responsible for uplifting the standard expected of many men since time. Next slide. You can always relate the character with people today. They are well throughout developed characters. The hero and heroine were in no way portrayed perfect. They had their downfalls, both proud and prejudiced in their own ways. Darcy, although his level of wealth and status would not be so empathy, empathetic, empathically important in our world, is socially awakened and confused when he encounters Elizabeth. She is so different from all the other women he has met, shows him no special attention or difference, and never seeks his approval. He responds strongly to her appeal but has no idea how to establish any kind of understanding with her. All you have to do is read question in the dating and relationship topic on Quora for viewers to understand how timeless these challenges are. Like you, when you ask people about relationship question, they all have kind of problems, and that is timeless. Like it was in that era, and we have same issues in our time as well. The characters and situations reflect universe. We have all met Mr. Darcy, superbly confident in his position, entirely in control of his emotion, but at the same time an entirely decent and thoughtful man. We all have met independent-minded women like Elizabeth Bennet. I don't see her as a modern. In the previous century, there were many notable independent-minded women, but she certainly had, like her character, a series of definite ideas of how and when she might wish to marry. I think that Shakespeare's sonnet 116 better describe her than to say she wants to marry for love. That might describe Marian in sense and sensibility. Elizabeth seeks the marriage of true minds. We have certainly met variation Lady Catherine and unfortunately Mr. Wickham and Kitty. Next. Okay, there are some lines from the story and that matches with the story, like don't judge a book by its cover. Both Darcy and Elizabeth make snap judgment about each other and others around them, and five they were completely incorrect. Second, Jane Austen was a good at writing about people relationship and community dynamics. Despite the significant difference between Austen's historical reality and our contemporary realities, the real human dynamics are relatable. We can learn from the mistakes made by the character as well as sympathize with them. We can visualize having similar dynamics play out in our modern eras. There is also an exotic quality of being completely consumed by detailed portrait of life during another era. Also, many people can identify with embracing relatives who do not think before they speak. Even today, you can see people unhappy marriages where neither respect their partners but stay together for their own reason. Although Austen wrote in very difficult time period where marriage being woman's way to fortune and security, unless already part of upper class, there are many aspects to the plot themes. Those are still relevant to today's society. Women are still not equal to men, and there is a still great inequality in fortune in Britain today. People are still cut out of wills due to love choice that their families may not agree with, which can be due to the perceived social standing their chosen partner. Next. A classic novel is one which deals with universal themes such as love, death, friendship, betrayal, or struggle. It appeal withstand the taste of time. Readers 100 or more years apart can find meaning or beauty in it. It also has some artistic merit, beauty, power, style, so that can compels or holds attention. On a relatively more controversial note, it seems to me that Austen wrote the type of blind, passionate, unrealistic love so prevalent from the beginning of fiction and throughout time. When it is present, such as a Jane and Bingley's plot, it is very existence in question by their friends and family for most of readers. This more complicated, realistic approach to love is very attractive and identifiable. Lots of the stuff and social condition doesn't exist anymore, as in Pride and Prejudice setting, but yet it seems to be all out. Something so fundamental in all of us, a feeling of calling for a person despite of your difference, love and care for your family, fear of social expectation, and ultimately the joy of finally letting go and trusting the person you love. The emotional things and that love stories that still exist today as well. Thank you for watching my presentation.
Okay, yes, questions? Daya and Chandani, yes.
Hello. Am I audible?
Yes.
Hiral, what are the themes of Pride and Prejudice?
Okay. For me, it is journey of self-realization, love and marriage, and pride and respect. In the primary analysis, one can say that pride stand for Darcy and prejudice for Elizabeth.
Yes, Hiran,
Yes.
what is the moral of the story, Pride and Prejudice?
Moral of the story of Pride and Prejudice is the primary moral lesson of Pride and Prejudice is to not to be too prideful or judgmental towards other, that we need to understand in today's time too, like we should not judge other people. Like it has one quote like, don't judge a book by its cover, just meet people, know about them by themselves, not from others. And that is the moral we should understand from this novel, this story.
Okay, you have not given any citations in your presentation.
Yes, because sir, it is not from any. I mean, this is not from any that sites. I have just took these points from other people's over views, and I added points on myself.